Now, the top court has asked the central government to draft a model national builder, buyer and agent buyer agreements to protect flat buyers. Brushing aside centre's defence that it's state's responsibility, the Supreme Court said that the central government cannot shirk or run away from its responsibilities. The top court held that the buyers cannot be left at the mercy of realtors and getting fleeced by them. Multiple pleas have been filed in the Supreme Court, have sought a direction to centre to frame agreements to protect buyers. Right, so this is, of course, home buyers' woes, which have, in fact, been something that we have been focusing on for quite some time now. And what we can, in fact, see is that the Supreme Court has now told the centre that they must protect buyers and that they can't shirk away from their responsibility. I'm joined on the broadcast by Professor Bejon Mishra, consumer rights activist. Professor Mishra, thank you so much for sparing your time and joining us on this discussion. But what we can, in fact, see is that the Supreme Court has said very clearly to the centre that they cannot shirk away from their responsibility, but in a very realistic way, the model builder-buyer pact, is that possible? Do you think that what the Supreme Court has in fact asked of the centre?
You see, the most important issue in my view is that the Supreme Court should have proposed a prompt redressal mechanism for home buyers, because there is a huge connivance between the builders, the state governments and the banks. So the most important issue is, how do we ensure that the consumers who are buying homes are well protected, not through long drawn litigations, but through prompt redressal, through a mechanism where people who cheat the consumers are deemed to be criminals, and criminal offense should be started against them. So making an agreement, of course, will help, but the most important aspect of the agreement should be that there should be prompt redressal giving to the consumers in terms of full refund of the money in case they have defaulted, or compensation in terms of ensuring that they get a substitute in terms of home if there is a delay. That builders must be made highly accountable, and if they fraud the consumers, then there should be criminal proceedings against them, because it's a very serious issue. And buying a home, people buy out of very scarce money and out of their savings. So everybody needs a home, and the government must come forward, including the Supreme Court, to ensure that homes are made affordable and accessible to all the citizens of the country. So there is a great need to bring in reforms in the law process, in the legal process, in terms of redressal. And I do appreciate the recommendation given by the Supreme Court to Government of India to make a good agreement, but that is not the solution. The solution is prompt redressal. The solution is, I get my money back if I don't get the product on time or as per the quality assured to me. So the money has to be returned back with interest to the consumers, so that they can differentiate between the good builders, responsible builders, and the corrupt builders or the criminal builders who are cheating the consumers today on a drop of a hat.
Right, Mr. Bejon, Professor Bejon Mishra there. Yes, exactly. Consumers are in fact being cheated at the drop of a hat. Please, thank you so much for joining us with your views. And this is, of course, an issue that we'll continue to follow here on Mirror Now. And what we have, in fact, seen is that Supreme Court has, in a way, shown us a bit of a way, in fact, for what it should look like, what kind of an ideal agreement should be there between builders and buyers, and it should not be in such a manner. In fact, if I can just read out a couple of lines that the Supreme Court had said to the centre on this, that the centre can frame law under the national model law, and builders often prepare bulky sale agreements, and builders include clauses that help them fleece buyers, and that the Supreme Court is concerned by the plight of middle-class buyers. In fact, I'm joined on the broadcast by lawyer Anish Agarwal. Anish, if you could just tell us, realistically speaking, this framework that the Supreme Court has recommended, do you think that's going to go a long way in terms of providing relief to home buyers? Do you think, going by your experience, builders often find some sort of a loophole or the other in the agreements to actually, in a way, stall the home buyers or stall the project, for that matter, that we've seen? But is this framework something that could bring about an actual change?
Hi, thank you. Yes, I think certainly an agreement and if a model agreement is prepared by the center, it could certainly help. Looking at the scheme of the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act, at the time of registration itself, the builder is normally supposed to file its agreement, and this agreement is required to be in line with the model agreement that has been prepared by the states. Now, this is provided in the Act itself. However, the center can also certainly frame the model agreement as has been proposed by the Honorable Apex Court. Further, if we look at what practically happens, in many cases, the states have not really created an agreement. And because of lack of standardization in the agreements, it becomes extremely difficult to really know what each of these agreements has. On a practical side, the buyer would not normally read each and every small clause of the agreement. So it would be in the interest of the buyers to have the agreements in a sort of standardized format where certain basic elements cannot be changed. Otherwise, the builder is always in a position to take advantage of that. And
right.
In case a model agreement is prepared by the center, then that would not just help buyers of states where such help builders in all those cases where these agreements sort of have not been provided by the state, and then it could help them in filing for registrations under RERA also. So I think
right.
it's a win-win. I think there's no question about whether it will only help the buyers only. It's just going to be good for the industry, in my view.
That's right. In fact, what we have seen is that the Supreme Court has also said that the center can't shirk away from the responsibility. That's another point that the center, in fact, made, that it's a state issue. Sometimes these issues are a state matter. Do you think that's also something that needs a relook?
So this act is a central act. Now, normally land matters are within the state purview. However, this is because this is in relation to urban development. Therefore, both center and state have been given powers to frame rules in relation to the same. Now, in our country, we have basically two sets of governments which we choose, and both are supposed to take care of the
right.
residents of India and each state as such. So I think for any government to say that it is not my responsibility would not be appropriate. Everybody should try their best to
right.
take care of the welfare of the people.
Right. Anish Agarwal there, thank you so much for joining us with your views on this. This is an important issue that we are following up here on Mirror Now.